Hello, this is Chris again. I said I would make a second video tonight. So this is the third characteristic in the laundry list of adult children of alcoholics, and what really makes us who we are based on our past. So the first one was we don't really know what normal is, and we don't know how to gauge that. And then the second one was that we don't finish projects from we don't complete projects from beginning to end. We don't see them through. So those two previous videos are up. And so this is the third video of the laundry list, and this is adult children of alcoholics lie when it's just as easy to tell the truth. So I'm going to read this whole portion and then reflect upon it, and you can let me know what you feel and how you've experienced a similar background if you are an ACOA, or if you know somebody who is. You definitely feel free to give resources or comment below. Lying is basic to the family system affected by alcohol. It masquerades in part as overt denial of unpleasant realities, cover-ups, broken promises, and inconsistencies. It takes many forms and has many implications. Although it is somewhat different from the kind of lying we normally talk about, it certainly is a departure from the truth. The first and most basic lie is the family's denial of the problem. So the pretense that everything at home is in order is a lie, and the family rarely discusses the truth openly, even, and I would include here, or especially, with each other. Perhaps somewhere in one's private thoughts there's a recognition of the truth, but there is also the struggle to deny it. The next lie, the cover-up, relates to the first one. The non-alcoholic family member covers up for the alcoholic family member. As a child, you saw your non-alcoholic parent cover up for your alcoholic one. You heard him or her on the phone making excuses for your mother or father not fulfilling an obligation or not being on time somewhere. That's part of the lie that you lived. Yay. You also heard a lot of promises from your alcoholic parent. These, too, turned out to be lies. Lying as the norm in your house became part of what you knew and what you could be useful to you. At times, it made life much more comfortable. If you lied about getting your work done, you could get away with being lazy for a while. If you lied about why you couldn't bring a friend home or why you were late coming home, you could avert unpleasantness. It seemed to make life easier for everybody. Although your family said that telling the truth was a virtue, you knew that they didn't mean much of what they said, so the truth lost its meaning. Lying has become habit. That's why the statement, adult children of alcoholics lie when it could be just as easy to tell the truth, is relevant. But if lying is what you have heard comes naturally, perhaps it is not as easy to tell the truth. In this context, it would be just as easy to tell the truth, in quotes, means that you derive no real benefit from lying. So yeah, just talking about this personally, starting with the beginning, yeah, I think there were cover-ups. I think that lying definitely just to cover up that something was happening was part of what happened with our family for sure. My brother and I didn't have very many friends when we were younger, but when we did have friends come over or whatnot, either dad was sleeping or dad wasn't home or dad was drinking, but we avoided him, or whatever the case might have been. And then, we rarely had people come over to our house anyway. What we would do instead was go play down the street or play with the kid across the street at his house. Or, play with the kids at grandma's house that were in that neighborhood because that was away from dad. Those kinds of things are the things that we did to really just avoid meeting people. And having them get to know our family the way that we knew it. Also, my mom didn't have very many friends as a younger person. I feel like maybe she's just a little less social than I am. But at the same time, she never had any of her friends come over. She would always go to them. And I think that's because she also wanted to deny the fact that it was happening. She wanted to make sure that nobody knew it was happening. And just like when I was younger, when I was a younger child, and I didn't want to make very many friends because I didn't want to tell them what was happening with me, because if I did, then maybe I would be judged and be bullied further, more so than I already was for being a fat queer kid. But now that I'm an adult, I find that it's very difficult just as much. Because a little like 8 or 9 year old bullying me when I was 6 or 7 was horrible and it was a bad experience, but it's not the same as an adult human being who knows what they're doing and knows the implications of what they say and how they act, judging somebody else. for the exact same thing that we say is bullying in schools. Um, Bullying is definitely a problem. I don't deny that, but there is such thing as adult bullying too, and that can come in many forms. And a lot of times, I see it as passive aggressive ignorance, not ignorance in the sense that like I guess ignorance in all senses actually, but also just avoidance. So I have a couple of friends that I've tried to talk to them about the issues that are going on for me. That I'm going to counseling. That I'm seeing a psychologist. That I'm um, attempting to be more open and honest with them so that they can know what I'm going through because I want them, just like I want all of my friends, to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't want them to see me just as this happy person that is just a shell of really who I am. So I want them to know who I am and what I'm going through, my struggles, and I want to know what they're going through as well. But instead of hoping that they get to where I'm at on that level, I see a lot of people, um, maybe hanging out with me, and I talk to them about my issues, and I say, oh, this is really going on with me. I'm depressed. I have anxiety and whatever. They're like, oh, really? I gotta go. And that's what I think that's what as adults, especially as young adults who are transitioning out of being, college students and being younger professionals and becoming, slightly older professionals, 30-year-old professionals, um, I find this incredibly offensive and rude. And I don't really, I'm struggling with my feelings in regards to it. And I don't really know what to do about it, but I know that the best solution for me now is to find people that are supportive. And so unfortunately for those people, there are other reasons why I might have lost them to whatever, X, Y, and Z, but I just don't talk to them as much anymore. I talk to my new friends about those people, or not about those people, about my situation, about my feelings, and then I talk to my counselors about those people. If I have issues with those people, sometimes I have resentment or I have anger, if I have frustration towards those people. I don't want to have that and hold that within me because not everybody is comfortable talking about their feelings, and I have taken the long road, the hard, long struggle to get to a place where I feel I'm a little bit more transparent now. And it's been a really long struggle for me. So I can understand that they're maybe not in a place where they're willing to change to become more open and honest for me just because of me. Um, but still, it's still very painful. I don't like it at all. It's not something that I enjoy very much, and I feel similarly about my mom and my brother. I wish that I could talk to them more. I wish I could tell them more, but they have to be, you know, their family, so they have to be willing to change if they want me to be open and honest with them. Otherwise, I'll just continue to have the same kind of non-communicative relationship with them that I've had for quite a while, which is sort of depressing, but at the same time, I know now that I cannot control that situation, and so I can just control myself. I can just control my actions and my communication. And if I want to try to open up to my mom, I will try. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to get anywhere. I can't have expectations, even though I do have really high expectations all the time, uh, for myself and for other people. But for other people, I tend to get annoyed. For myself, I don't really forgive myself. So I'm working on that as well. Um, so kind of moving on to, I'm going to wrap this up soon. Just this other part about feelings. So when it comes, when I have to distinguish between lying about things and lying about feelings. When it comes to feelings, I have a tough time being honest about my feelings, being honest with myself and honest with others. So similar to what I've been saying this whole time, but I do want to mention that in my last relationship, which ended a little over a year ago, I found that the more that I fell in love with her, or the more that I really felt like she could be the one, I closed up more. And I realized that that's something that I did because I didn't know how to express my feelings as much. And while I am able to express my feelings minimally and have some practice with that with some of these new friends that I've had or some of the old friends that are willing to listen, I find that most of the experience and most of the practice that I get opening myself up to people is in relationships, is in partnerships that I have with people. And in the past partnership, I felt like I loved her so much that I wanted to open myself up to her, but because I realized how much I was falling in love with her, that it made it more difficult for me to really communicate to her, and that actually was a huge leading factor to why we broke up, because I was not able to be as open and honest with her as I wanted to be. I just felt stuck. I felt like I didn't know where to go, and even when I did, share some of my feelings, I didn't share the whole truth sometimes. I didn't share the whole amount of feelings. I didn't share feelings in a way that was very efficient sometimes. So there was a lot of that, and we struggled with that a lot, and that was one of the huge factors as to why we broke up. And my consistent worry is that I will continue to be that way because I don't have practice talking to my family, talking to friends, talking to pretty much anybody that I know, even past partners. I have had two really important partners in my life that I think that are pivotal turning points in my life because I've become a better person coming out of them, because I've become a different person coming out of those relationships. Um, and those two, I was able to communicate a lot to them, not as much as I would want to, obviously, but a lot. And so that's really only two relationships, a total of maybe 5 years that I've had practicing my communication skills with people. 5 years, I mean, if you just think about like a little baby to 5 years old, that's, a kindergartner, that's the kind of level of experience that I have communicating to somebody, and that just shocks me. It's scary to think about. I've had 30 years in the making almost to be this adult child of an alcoholic and to continue to have these negative behavior patterns, or these behavior patterns that I don't like non-communication or non-transparency. And so it's going to take a really long time to go backwards from those, to develop communication skills, to develop that, the kind of practice that I need to have a loving relationship with my family, with my friends, and with my partner in the future. And it's scary to think about. It's overwhelming to think about that I have a lot of work to do. Um, so just this last paragraph, these people in discussing what lying means to them in their lives have a high level of self-awareness, which I also do. I feel like I do. A lot of my counselors and therapists have said that I do so, and a fearless honesty with which they share their difficulty in telling the truth. It's the first step of changing this aspect of their personalities. If you wish, you can change too. So I'll just leave you on that note. There's a lot more that I could have said, and this is already running into like the 13-minute mark. So please comment below. Let me know resources-wise if you have anything, and let me know what you think. How have you been affected by, telling lies when you could have told the truth? Like even silly, stupid lies, like what your favorite book is, or when you lost your virginity, or things like that that don't really matter to people, that people don't really care about in the long run. If you've had any of those white lies, I've definitely done that a lot. If you've done any of these like lying by omission things where you don't tell the whole truth, or you tell part of the truth, and the other part of the truth you keep to yourself, or maybe you tell them later, but maybe it's not true for you anymore at that time. I don't know. Tell me how you have dealt with this kind of, not being able to tell the truth because you were never really shown how to. I would love anything that you have to say, and I'll be making some new videos soon. See you soon.